My word, is it hot out there? Jesus Christ, it is hot, isn't it? It has been really warm today, and it's likely to be, I think, next couple of days, pretty warm. I think 28 degrees, 29 round our way. It's been really, really hot. So, yeah, do take care out there. Obviously, England tonight. Do you know what? With England, you just think, like, just put in a decent performance. So we need to see. I think just a decent performance will get, and obviously a result, but a decent performance, and it'll breathe some life, I think, into the tournament and lift that sort of confidence levels up. Because I don't know about you, like, my confidence levels just aren't there now. I mean, going into this tournament, I was thinking, do you know what, this could be the year. But yeah, I don't know. It's been waning after those last. Well, actually, it wasn't the last two games. It was the friendly before that with Iceland one as well. We just need a good performance. So fingers crossed we get it tonight. So we've got the news, obviously, on Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson is signing for Ipswich Town. We talked about it this morning on this channel. It's then subsequently come out further from ExWHUEmployee today that he is leaving the club. He is going to sign a deal for Ipswich. I'm gutted. I'm going to be honest. Like I've got a bit of stick actually over it because I put up a tweet saying that I was really gutted about it, and people were saying, "Well, he's average." I'm not expecting Ben Johnson to be a world beater. All right, I'm not saying he's irreplaceable or anything like that. It's just the fact that he's such a versatile lad. Do you know what I mean? He can play it right back, left back, in the midfield. And I just think he's this season, well, not much this season, but last season, I thought he looked decent when he was called upon. So I just think it's really short-sighted by the club. It really is that they've just allowed this to happen. And again, some people had criticised me and said, well, you know, the club have been trying. Yeah, they have been trying, yeah, but not in the right way. They've been really lowballing the player. They've been this arrogance that he was not going to stay, that he wasn't going to leave, and all this. I just think it's so short-sighted and poor, and it's enabled other clubs to come in and to basically, you know, turn his head. And look, I want nothing but the best for him. I think he's a really good lad, and I love the fact he's done so well. You know, coming from West Ham's academy and made it as a professional footballer, and in terms of, you know, Premier League level, etc. So I've got nothing but gratitude. But I just feel that West Ham have been really poor in how they've handled the Johnson stuff, and it's going to be sad to see him go. But yeah, Ipswich Town, he's actually on his way there now for his medicals. We understand it. He'll be unveiled as an Ipswich player. But he hasn't signed, so there's a chance, of course, he'll stay still, but it's very minimal. It's very unlikely now. So yeah, that's it then. Ben Johnson's off as far as I'm concerned, and I think it's poor for the club. But look, I don't want to go on about it too much. I'm going to talk about basically an update from ExWHUEmployee this evening. It's hot off the press, this. And I'm going to focus on a couple of areas. First of all, I'm going to talk about the main subject, as you know, from the thumbnail, which is Jonathan David. I'm going to talk about that in a second because it's really quite interesting, that one. And also want to talk about the right-back position. Because now West Ham need to go and find a right-back, but because we need to go and find a versatile right-back, you know what I mean, and pay 20 million for him or something. Do you know what I mean? And pay him 50, 60 grand a week. Anyway, we're going to stop moaning about it eventually. I promise I will stop moaning about it. But we've got to go and find a right-back because we're losing Ben Johnson. And this is the update from ExWHUEmployee. This isn't the whole thing, all right? The full detailed breakdown of what we're doing is on our Patreon channel. So if you're not Patreon, just go and check it out. The link's below. And then you get ExWHUEmployee's news straight to your fingertips straight away. So I'm sort of like just picking bits out that I think are going to make more of an interesting topic for this video for today anyway. So I want to talk about the right back position now that we're losing Ben Johnson. So right back position, homegrown right back we're after, and we're looking at, and quite seriously as well, is Kyle Walker-Peters of Southampton. Now, as we know, Southampton they've just been promoted back to the Premier League, so they're not going to want to be selling their best players. Let's be honest, when you get promoted, the last thing you want to be doing is selling best players. However, Southampton are aware that they need to strengthen. We know that they're very, very keen on Flynn Downs. In fact, it's looking like he's going to be going there, which is a bit of a shame because you only got to go back a few videos and look, I believe that he was going to be given a chance under Lopetegui, but I think the club want to raise funds and they see it as an opportunity, actually. And I think as well, Downs wants to move. I don't blame him. He wants first team football. We can't give him it. So it's as simple as that. So I think Ben Downs will be going. However, plays into our hands a little bit because we want Walker-Peters. So West Ham are going to be using, I believe, the Flynn Downs situations as to help us try and get a deal over, a bit of a swap deal. And it also could include Danny Ings. This is from ExWHUEemployee's update. Said the homegrown right back who has been capped twice by England is Kyle Walker-Peters of Southampton. This deal could be supported by the Saints' interest in Flynn Downs and Danny Ings. A possible deal involving one or both of these players as part of the package could be tempting for Southampton, who of course will be reluctant to sell Walker-Peters as they've just been promoted to the Premier League. Basically just what I've said. So I've got no real problem with this other than the Johnson thing. It's annoying me, but I'm not going to keep going on about Ben Johnson. I'm not going to keep moaning about it. I promise I don't want to spend all bloody summer moaning about that. But that's what we're looking to do. So it looks like West Ham are going to make a formal offer for Kyle Walker-Peters, which I think is going to be quite interesting. I think it deals with a couple of problems for us, doesn't it? One, it solves our right-back situation in terms of Ben Johnson leaving, and we get a homegrown player coming through. Walker-Peters obviously is a highly rated player, did well in the Championship last season. And also, it gets rid of Danny Ings, doesn't it? I mean, no disrespect to him, but he's been a bit of a thorn in the club because he's paid such a high wage. We just need to get it sorted out. So I think it'd be good. I was going to say, I'd be sad to see Flynn Downs go, but if he wants football, and the thing is, he knows if he goes to Southampton, he's going to be the main guy there. Do you know what I mean? Straight in that midfield, and he'll be a key player for them. Whereas at West Ham, he's just not going to be guaranteed that sort of role. So you can understand it. It feels like this deal is sort of a win-win-win-win for everyone. Do you know what I mean? I think Walker-Peters gets moved to a bigger club, more established, say Premier League, and trying to fight for European spots, etc. You've got Southampton then get the Flynn Downs that they desperately want to get him through the door. We offload Danny Ings as well. It just feels like this would be a really good deal for all parties, actually. So that's one certainly to keep an eye on. Another one that's really interesting. We talked about Leif Davis. Leif Davis is left back at Ipswich. We talked about him being a sort of long-term replacement for Aaron Cresswell. Now, Aaron Cresswell, of course, has signed a one-year deal, but it's only his temporary cover. We're unsure of the future of Emerson. I'm going to be honest. That seems to be a bit of a question mark at the moment. Clubs are interested in him, and it's not known whether he wants to stay on. It's all a little bit up in the air with him. I don't think he'll go personally, but he's been a brilliant player for us. Last season, he was outstanding, so I really don't want to see that happen. But we are looking at left backs now. Leif Davis of Ipswich has been a big target for West Ham, really has been, and someone we are seriously looking at. Of course, they're up, so they're not going to want to lose him. But one thing that is interesting is Harry Clark. Harry Clark. Now, this is a player that is a right back for them. So we're looking at both flanks of Ipswich flanks. So that's another player to keep an eye on. I'm struggling to see that deal's actually happening at the moment, but I think the Walker-Peters one looks more likely. I think that's the one that if you look at, you think, yeah, that's probably a more likely option at this stage, considering the fact that we are holding quite a few cards here, Flynn Downs being the main one. So, yeah, one to keep an eye on. So let's talk about the striker situation, which is Jonathan David. Now, Jonathan David's been a target for West Ham. But when I say a target for West Ham, he's been a player of interest, hasn't he, for quite a long time. We seem to be, it's probably now, third year running now, we've been linked with him. But it seems to be now this is gaining a bit of momentum. There's something in this. Chelsea are very interested, as well as Manchester United. But there apparently is a feeling that something could happen here with him coming to West Ham. But this is the update we've got from X. Jonathan Davis is another player whose interest we have been reporting for a long time and followed up with on the podcast this week. That was on Patreon. Alex Bunbury has also spoken to the player directly and put his love for West Ham to him. We have scouts at the Copa America and been watching David's Canada there and also Kone of Watford. Performances have been noted for both players. Kone, by the way, although we talked about that earlier, there's also interest from Marseille as well. Deserbi apparently is making him their number one target, so it looks like we've got a bit of a battle on our hands to get him. Jonathan Davis's valuation will be key, but it's thought that West Ham have received reassurances that it is going to be within our price range. Other players are interested, other clubs are interested, including Chelsea and Manchester United. So Jonathan David's looking one now that's becoming a bit more serious, I think, as a striker target. And the series is also one that we've talked about quite a fair bit. We've been linked with for a long time, of course, played under Lopetegui, and I know that he wants to come to the club. It does feel that could be a viable option. But Jonathan David now suddenly starting to build some momentum. So I think West Ham are going to start pushing for this to get something over the line. As I say, from X, we are, in the realms of the talking now about numbers and etc., whether it's going to be affordable, and it appears to be the case. So this is quite interesting. I mean, things are starting to pick up gradually, aren't they? This window, it started off a bit thick and fast as it did, then it sort of petered off a little bit. But you do feel that West Ham are going to be targeting quite a few players. Obviously, we know we have to. We've got to strengthen the squad. So, yeah, Walker-Peters for me of Southampton is going to be one I think we've got to seriously look at. I think it could be something happening there. And Jonathan David, yeah, very much back on the radar. It looks like West Ham are gearing up to make a bid.